Despite how niche they still remain, the rhythm game genre is the healthiest it's ever been. Early access efforts like Rhythm Doctor capture the Osu Tatake Oinden atmosphere while adding something special. Spin Rhythm XD puts its own little spin, and pun fully intended, and creates a compelling gameplay loop. And Rift of the Necrodancer merges the lane-based gameplay that we all know and love while adding enemies, a genuinely enthralling take on its predecessor. However, history has lacked a certain rhythm, a certain 4-beat repetition that can drag anyone into either joyfully mindless tapping or straight insanity. And it goes PATAPON, and has been distinctly missing since 2007. Sure, a spiritual successor, Ratatan, is on the way, but based on its delay, it clearly needs more to really match the original, to truly capture the pata and the pawn in its truest sense. Fortunately, at least for fans, Bandai Namco Entertainment has brought forth the first 2 games in the franchise into one remastered package with Patapon 1 and 2 Replay. It contains the first game's remaster, originally launched in 2017 for PS4, alongside a new version of Patapon 2. The results are, well, as Patapon as can be, and while it's an acquired taste among rhythm game aficionados and casuals alike, there are some areas that could have used significant improvement. The fact that they've remained the same for this long is as baffling as it is annoying, but we'll get to that. Patapon tells the tale of the titular tribe, who reunite with the mighty Patapon, aka you, to find Earth End and witness it after a sudden fall from their peak. So what is it? Why is it? No one really knows, but with the tribes in tatters, it is up to you to feed, arm, and lead them through various expeditions, including battles against the Zigatone, a rival tribe. You do this by playing drums in certain combinations to dole out commands, whether it's to advance forward, attack, defend, or even call down rain. That last bit requires Fever Mode, which activates when you've successfully played the tunes without fail, and sooner if you nail them perfectly. It gives a boost to your Patapon's stats, making them more potent at attack and defense. As for the Patapons themselves, they start out as spearmen, but you can eventually unlock shield-wielding frontliners, archers, and much more, with Patapon 2 diversifying the lineup further with flying and magic-wielding units. At the center of all of this is the Hatapon, who is the de facto leader in the army and also the most vulnerable. If he dies, it is mission failed, and we'll get him next time. Rare pawns can appear as you upgrade Patapons with materials collected from missions. Picola, for instance, has increased movement speeds and provides extensive benefits for the Decapons, which are heavy attackers. Patapon 2 improves on this whole system with an evolution map which lets you actually choose which rare pawns to develop and specialize in. It's a big step up in terms of the progression and gives much finer control over a unit's development, especially when the hero pawn enters the mix and adds their own flavor to unlocked classes. Each Patapon can have different equipment, though there's an optimize button to quickly bestow them with the best stuff. Strangely enough, there is no optimize all function. You have to customize each unit separately, which can become a bit of a chore. Still, there are a plethora of unlocks and equipment, and it can be fun to watch your initial cadres turn into this death ball that can quickly roll over any hapless fool or animal. At heart, Patapon 1 and 2 are strategy lights, where group composition, knowledge of enemy types in a mission, and correct use of commands ensures your victory. The latter is where things get dicey, since some bosses like the Dodonga and Majidonga can move around, and since your unit's attack range can be somewhat limited, it is very easy to miss a damage cycle. It's especially frustrating against Majidonga, since it devours your units without any way to avoid it, at least in the early going, caps and all. Caps represent fallen units, and retrieving them allows for resurrecting them back at Patapolis, your base. If the cap isn't retrieved, or as noted, devoured, then you'll need to spend materials to restock your units. Don't have those materials? Well, better go and grind the same missions and hope that you get the damage cycles down pat, lest even wild prey escapes and the mission is failed. Grinding has always been an issue with the Patapon series, especially with how repetitive the gameplay loop can get. Yes, you gain access to miracles and more, and there are environmental hazards in the later stages which require mastering them to progress. But for the most part, you're alternating between the same handful of commands while keeping a close eye on the movement of enemy units to ensure no wasted effort. The soundtrack is the other core pillar, and credit where it's due. It doesn't just hold up to today's standards, it's a genuine joy to listen to. Successfully chaining together commands and unlocking more of a song, Patapon enigmatically chanting as the tempo rises, that all feels great. Watching your units dance while marching or raising their weapons in the middle of combat to the beat is also a nice touch. The incessant pataponing can feel annoying when repeating missions, but otherwise it is engrossing when venturing to new stages and listening to new tunes. Unfortunately, the fever notification still drowns out the beat and can cause you to mess up the timing, especially if you're not paying attention to the flashing borders on the screen. The art direction is also great, whether it's the design of the patapons and monsters, the backgrounds, effects, or animations. However, it would have been nice to see more bells, whistles, and quality of life features added by Bandai Namco. You can adjust the beat timing and game difficulty and toggle the buttons required for commands to remain on screen. Coming off of the calibration seen in games like Rhythm Doctor and Rift of the Necrodancer, it's kind of disappointing to see Patapon Replay 1 and 2 simply letting you select a number from 1 to 5. If you can embrace both titles, warts and all, they have quite a bit to offer with dozens of hours of content each. Taken as a simple re-release of the first game's remaster for modern-ish platforms and the ability to revisit the second game, Patapon 1+2 Replay does its job competently enough. When I was entranced by the beat, swapping between attacking and defending like it was a subtle dance between two sides, the experience really hit its stride. When I fail a fight against a monster simply because I didn't upgrade my units enough or equip them with whatever was available, all those perfect rhythms and never-ending fever felt completely superfluous. Failing in those circumstances just added insult to injury. Of course, even for longtime fans of the franchise, it feels like Patapon 1+2 could have aspired to more. If you're truly keen on revisiting the classics, if only to witness the more unorthodox side of PlayStation, it may be worth checking out. But for those who want to recapture the magic from the old days of the PlayStation Portable, may find it somewhat lacking, whether it's in terms of gameplay, or various annoyances, or the amount of effort put into both remasters.
And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at Gaming Vault, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.